Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Z. Today I'm going to cover the Shamrock Days event, the Kari, uh, the stats, the battle, and then my thoughts afterwards. If you would like to jump to a specific point in the video, look in the description below and you'll be able to click to a certain time. Let's get into it. So Shamrock Days, new event. Some of it looks good, some of it not so good. This hidden treasures thing looks like it could be interesting. Probably won't give too much, but you are guaranteed a day of premium on the first day, a new 2D style on the second, and a training guide on the third. Basically, just a couple free things. Not too bad. The emerald boxes. This is where it gets a little bit difficult to say. They will probably be a decent deal if you have a good amount of these premiums or none of them. However, that's all to say that if you don't think any of these things have real value, then they won't have much value unless you are able to get premium tanks out of it for a good deal. I personally think you shouldn't buy boxes unless you are not going for something specific. If you're going for something specific, you're doing it wrong. That's just my opinion on the whole thing, whether it's holiday boxes, any other boxes throughout the year. Also, I am not a fan of putting brand new things like the Kari behind boxes because of the whole FOMO effect. I just don't like it. But yeah, so in these boxes, you have the Kari, which is the first Japanese tank destroyer being introduced to the game. It's a tier 8 premium, and that will be the crew trainer, the introduction to the line. The other one that is new, Forest Spirit, is just a reskinned SU-130, just like the Mars and the Peregrine and various other random tier 8 premium tanks of late. Whether I like it or not, that they're doing that, I don't know. That's really person to person. For better or for worse, it's another tank for me to 3 mark. Anyways, let's get into the stats of the Kari. So, like I said, tier 8 Japanese premium tank destroyer. This thing has very good DPM when you use the equipment I'm using. So I'm using Bounty Rammer, Bounty Vents, and Vents Directive. I am using these field mods as shown. Brothers in Arms, Recon, Situation Awareness, Snapshot, Smooth Ride, my normal crew loadout, and food, of course. Standard pen, 252. Premium pen is 298. 980 shell velocity on the standard round, and it is 1150 on the premium round. Essentially, premium round is just better in every single way. That means I will only be using the premium round. However, the standard round isn't terrible, 252 pen. It is usable, and you'll be able to make credits with this tank because alpha, if you can hit, and pen, you'll do damage, and damage gives you credits. Like I said, good DPM, almost 3,000, and I'm not even using purple equipment. That's very good on a tier 8 tank. Get your reload down to about 10 seconds. The aim time, very good. Even with all the field mods down to 1.81 and the accuracy down to 0.26. This thing is a very accurate high caliber gun with a very good aim time. Not normally something that goes together. And it doesn't take too long to aim in. The dispersion factors aren't terrible either. As for mobility, this thing is decent. Goes 40, 18 reverse, at least on Tanks GG. I think it might be slower in game. It might only be 16. I can double check in a little bit. Power to weight is correct, 16.51. And the HP, I believe it's 1250. View range, you don't need optics to get to over 445, which is nice. You can spot your own targets. But of course, that's with recon and situational awareness. Now, the crew loadout is something that I need to point out. It has 2 loaders and 1 radio man, which is not the same as some of the other tanks in the Japanese tech tree. So you probably want to make a brand new crew, and hopefully this crew will be the same for the actual tech tree tank destroyers. That remains to be seen though. 3D model. This is against 252 pen. Superstructure is 220. Everything else a little bit less. You're only really going to bounce if someone hits your mantlet or around it. Don't expect to bounce. Best comp for this tank is a Yak Panther 2, the tier 8 German tank destroyer. About the same alpha. A little bit slower. But the gun handling, shell velocity, pen, all of that is right around that. You do have the gun further forward than the JP2, so there is that. Anyways, let's get into the replay. So, as we can see, this thing does have decent mobility. It isn't absolutely atrocious. Even going uphill, it'll do okay. As the first Japanese tank destroyer in the game, it seems to be representative of what the actual tech tree is going to look like, which is good gun, big target, probably pretty squishy, relatively mobile. In essence, a regular tank destroyer. Whether it's good for the game, debatable. We have plenty of tank destroyers. I think tank destroyers should be limited. Even in this battle, there are 5 of them. I would prefer tank destroyers to be limited to 3 per side. I think it would make gameplay a little bit better, especially on big open maps. So while we wait for this battle to progress, I will quickly cover some more thoughts on the emerald boxes. If you notice, I'm going to actually, I'll wait a split second. I believe, yeah. So there's a quick shot, hit an even 90, 535 damage. So if you see this camo right here, it's available in the emerald boxes. And if you see that big G on the side, that's for global map. This camo is one of the more exclusive camos in the game. Not that many people have it, and if they have it, they don't have very many of them. Maybe only 1, or if people have been trying to collect them, a handful of them. It's now going to be widely available, and I am not a fan. I think it should keep its exclusivity, especially since it is a global map camouflage. So, not a fan that was put in there, but there isn't much I can do about it. Here we can see that 10-second reload is pretty good for dishing out damage. Of course, all of these are under 500 damage shots, but I mean, looking at this, the accuracy is just really good. You don't really miss, and I'll show you what I mean after this battle is over. Here we can see some mobility to be used for relocating. I don't think this is something that should be played on the front lines. This is definitely a sniping tank destroyer. The gun allows for it. The armor isn't very useful at close range or any range really, so might as well snipe. Shell velocity is nice. Also, it being AP doesn't really lose penetration over distance, as far as I'm aware. And the penetration on the premium round is just so good, almost 300. It's just such a good gun. Like I don't know how else to put this, but the gun is amazing. Like I just drive over that edge and I don't even really have to aim. Like I'm already fully aimed. And even here, like I aim for just a very little bit. And that's just because I thought the IC was under the ridge. Just like that, over 3K, still some damage left to be done. Is this tank worth getting at any point in time? Yes. Do I think it's worth tryharding in the emerald boxes? No. I think this is one of those fun, relatively competitive tank destroyers that will be useful. Basically, think of it as a non-turreted Scorpion G or SC-130. It will do big damage, it will be reasonably fun to play, and even at this range, which is 400 meters, almost the entire reticle covers the tank. And here's just me being greedy. I waited a split second before firing, just to see if I could, you know, get that extra little bit of a kill. So we'll jump over to the post-game stats. Here we are. 4,200 damage, 3 kills, 400 assist. I did bounce the one shot from the ISU. That's what that's what I was saying. The mantlet will bounce shells. I think he aims center mass. I was only a first class because I wasn't really doing my own spotting. Wasn't really high base XP either. On the credit side of things, if I wasn't running premium consumables or firing premium, I would be making more credits. This is what I'm talking about though. 10 out of 10. Out of 10. 10, 10, 10. That's 100% hit rate, pen rate, all of it. And this is also why my XP was really low. 2,800 of my 4,200 damage, more than 300 meters away. But I feel like you can just do that much damage consistently at that distance because you'll actually hit. At least that's what I feel like. Now, the one other thing I will bring up is my 3 battles in it, averaging 3,600. Yes, it's small sample size, but I think it's just very comfortable. It's just a non-turreted Scorpion G, really. That's the biggest premium tank comp I can get for it. Tech tree, like I said, JP2 is solid, but I think this thing is slightly better because it doesn't have the APCR as premium. The AP will retain that shell, that penetration and normalization at range, and the 500 alpha is really nice. Mobility is solid. It's not amazing, not terrible. Nothing really to complain about. The only thing I don't like about any of this is the fact that it is hidden behind boxes and that there's a 2D style that was exclusive and won't be anymore. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And I will see you guys next time.